Hey, what's up guys? So I'm going to be teaching you guys how to side deck against Exodia, and the Exodia build specifically that we're going to be siding against is going to be the Jarrell Winston build that, went over at Worlds, and it's a very popular deck now, and I've had a lot of requests to how to beat this deck. Now, a lot of people will side deck Royal Decree, but your opponents will be expecting that. So games 2 and 3, expect your opponent to, if they're playing Exodia, expect them to side deck Mystical Space Typhoon as well as Twisters. And how the deck relies, if you guys are unfamiliar with the deck, is that basically the Exodia player wants to have as low as life possible, then they want to activate Hope for Escape and draw a bunch of cards. And basically it's a whole bunch of traps that they just chain to. So they will be siding MSTs and Twisters because most likely you'll have Royal Decree in your side deck, which is a very great card. However, again, they're just going to side deck other cards that destroy you. So I'm going to show you a bunch of cards that you can use. Some of these won't be viable for every deck, but and also some of them are better than others. It's just because if you possibly don't have them, because I think that at regionals some people will try to run the Exodia variant, and some of these cards are kind of hard to find. Like I know Catapult Turtle at Nationals, a lot of people were like, does anyone have Catapult Turtles? It was a very hard card to find because people wanted to use it against like Final Countdown. Most of this stuff you can side against Final Countdown as well. But yeah, Catapult Turtle, very good if you're playing Chaos Dragons because you can swarm the field and your monsters have relatively large attacks. So it works very well in that deck. I know it takes a turn because you got to essentially tribute to get out Catapult Turtle, but that's not really a problem because you're probably under the effect of 1 day piece anyways. So I would say by far one of the best cards to side deck against them is actually Jinzo. Because Jinzo, they can't really chain anything to Jinzo, they can't destroy Jinzo with MST or Twister, it just becomes a really problematic card for them to deal with. They basically have, they have the Swift Scarecrows, and that's really about it to protect themselves. They really got to draw into those cards before you get out your Jinzo. If you can get out Jinzo early on against that deck and they don't have like a Dark Hole, some of them, I've seen some players that were playing the Exodia variant playing Dark Hole just because sometimes you'll overextend and then they'll like Wobble Coup, then they'll just Dark Hole you, and then you have to kind of get your field back up again. But yeah, I feel like Jinzo is probably one of the best cards actually to side deck over Decree. I know the reason why most people side deck the Decree is because Decree can hit multiple decks, whereas Jinzo might not be that great against certain decks. Like for example, I know Inzekers love to side Royal Decree, whereas siding Jinzo just might not be an option for them. But if you're specifically side decking against Exodia, I would say Jinzo is probably one of your best bets. But I'll show you the other cards. So Catapult Turtle, pretty good. He's like a very bad version of Dark Strike Fighter. But yeah, you can tribute 1 monster to inflict damage equal to half of its attack, so pretty decent. Especially, again, it's really good in Chaos Dragons. The rest of these cards mostly just like burn damage. We have Solar Flare Dragon, pretty decent. So he also has another effect if you have 2 of them on the field, essentially, or another Pyro type monster. You can't attack Solar Flare Dragon. So I mean, Exodia is not going to really attack you anyway, so you won't have to worry about that. So yeah, it's just 500 burn every turn. And I know this card got reprinted several times, so this card should be probably one of the easiest cards that I'm going to talk about to actually obtain. And then we have a Bear Ushoni. We'll call him a bear, but anyways, so it's once per turn you can toss a coin, you call it, and you call it right, you inflict 1,000 damage to your opponent. If you call it wrong, you take 1,000 damage. And if you guys don't remember, you want to actually have lower life against Exodia because they're not going to really burn you, because they want to have a lower difference. So even if you call it wrong, technically, you still kind of get an advantage, if you guys get what I'm saying, so that's an option. Also, there's Amazon as Archer, so you can tribute 2 monsters you control to inflict 1,200 damage. So maybe if you're playing a deck that can swarm really easy, or can have multiple monsters on the field, really simple, I'd say like Frog Monarchs. I mean, you'll always have that additional monster to tribute. So I'm thinking Frog Monarchs, this would be a great option, just because it's just tribute. So if you can just get out like another, you could just discard 1 special summon Swap Frog. Like this could be an option as well, is what I'm saying, because sometimes the Exodia player will take some damage early on because they want to have lower life points, and then you just inflict burn damage to them, and then they lose. So keep that in mind as well. And then there's Does Koala. This card I don't think is that great, but I know this card's pretty easy to come by. So, and I know Exodia, like, they can draw a lot of cards. I don't think this card's that great, but it can potentially flip up and they can just take like so much damage that they automatically lose. So that could be an option, because I know sometimes when it's your turn and if you have this card face down and you like MST a face down, they like start chaining all their stuff. They end up drawing like 10 cards. You flip that Does Koala, man, they're gonna take some huge points of damage right there. Next card up is Bo. Ganane, and so during each one of your standby phase, you collect 600 points. Just more burn damage, essentially, is what this is. It's better than Solar Flare Dragon by 100 life. extra damage, but you know, Solar Flare Dragon probably easier to come by. I don't even know if I have any of these. Jinzo we talked about, probably one of the best cards. Also, this is a pretty good burn card, but again, this card probably not as good because they will side MSC and Twister, so they can hit this. But I know this card's pretty decent as well, just because the duel most likely will be lasting a long time. So Wave Motion Cannon can be an option for you. Probably a better card than Wave Motion Cannon. Stealth Bird, definitely very good, just because you can just 1,000 damage every turn. Basically Wave Motion, except for it deals it automatically, and they cannot MST or Stealth Bird. Last card I want to talk about is Doomcal. So Doomcal is good because it's one of those cards just like Royal Decree where you can side deck against multiple decks. I would say, like, what is Gladiator Beast going to do against Doomcal overnight? There's pretty much limited stuff Glad Beast can do. Not that Glad Beasts are a popular deck anyways, but even against certain decks like Inzectors. I know Gigamantis still kind of does hurt Doomcal, but Doomcal is just overall pretty solid card, and it can be used against multiple side decks. And what this will essentially stop them from using Swift Scarecrow. So when you know that you have game and they don't have any back row, you know that you can go for game. Because Doomcal will negate their Swift Scarecrow. So keep that in mind. Also, this card over here, last card. If you're playing like Heretics, you guys are already familiar with this card. Super Dreadnought, Rail Cannon, Gustav, Max. So this card really good. Just inflicts 2,000 damage, and you can basically do it twice because they're not going to get rid of this card. It has 3,000 attack. So basically, you can deal 4,000 points of damage is what this card allows you to do. It takes 2 turns to do it. Pretty good card. But keep in mind, 1 day at peace still stops effect damage. So that is very important to remember. Do not activate some of these cards when you are under the effect of 1 day at peace. That's very important as well. But yeah, that's basically how to side deck against them. Those are my choices. I'd say if you're playing Chaos Dragons, definitely check out this card. Pretty much any other deck, I would honestly say Stealth Bird and Jinzo. Those are really good. As well as, you could potentially win with Death Koala, which would be hilarious too, just because it is Death Koala. I mean, look at him, he's a koala. But yeah, I'd say definitely your best bet is Jinzo. By far, I would recommend Jinzo if you are afraid of playing against this deck. If you can pull off a Jinzo, it basically will almost guarantee they have Swift Scarecrow, and that's really about it. And they can't chain anything. And that's the important thing, is you do not want them to be able to chain. Because even if you flip that Royal Decree, they can still technically, to the Royal Decree, they can still chain everything. That's important to remember too. So yeah, keep that in mind, and I hope this will help you out against Exodia, because it is a very popular deck right now, and you could maybe expect to see it if the deck doesn't really get hit, perhaps just as one of those surprise decks, kind of like Final Countdown. But thanks for watching, guys. Asian Eyes White Dragon, signing out.